Welcome to our deep dive into Olga Tokarczuk's Flights.
Flights.
It's a fascinating book, a journey
It really is.
through time and place, the human experience.
Yes.
We're using excerpts you've shared,
Right.
focusing on how Tokarczuk uses objects and the human body
Yeah.
to explore travel and identity.
That's the core of it.
It's not a typical novel, is it?
No, not at all.
More like a collection, interconnected stories, reflections.
Almost like a constellation of ideas.
Exactly, a constellation.
It does that so well, and it mirrors the themes,
How so?
Travel, identity, even our bodies, how fragmented they feel.
In the modern world.
Exactly, the
Right.
modern world.
It's like she's giving us this puzzle, challenging us to find the connections between these seemingly disparate stories.
That's the beauty of it, the connections, yeah.
And one striking piece is Philip Verheyen, right?
Oh, yes, Philip Verheyen.
The anatomist who dissects his own leg.
In the history of Philip Verheyen.
It's described so vividly, blurring the lines.
Between body and object.
It's almost unthinkable. Imagine your leg's amputated and you decide to dissect it.
I know, it's fascinating and disturbing.
It becomes a specimen, scientific, for him to understand.
His own body, detached, objectively.
Detached, yes.
It points to this larger theme, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
This desire, human desire for control, understanding.
Almost like a quest for immortality.
Through preserving, observing.
Through preserve. Like Dr. Blau.
Yes. Dr. Blau, he's obsessed.
Plastination, obsessed with it.
This urge to preserve, but on a grand scale.
Grand scale, exactly. Conquer death, decay, the body, perfect form.
Tokarczuk doesn't shy away from the unsettling parts either.
No, she doesn't.
Makes you think about the ethics. Where do we cross the line?
In our quest for knowledge, for control over our bodies.
Very important question.
So we see this control, the physical, objects, bodies. But Tokarczuk also shows the body as something else.
What's that?
A site of exploration, to be charted, understood.
Yes, I see that.
These images, recurring. The body as a map.
A landscape, waiting to be discovered.
Waiting, yes.
And here's where the travel connection gets stronger.
Okay, how so?
Think of the narrator. Lines, planes, and bodies.
The one who wants to be unseen.
Yes. Unseen, observing, penetrating the surface.
To see beneath, like dissection.
Exactly, but also like travel, isn't it?
How do you mean?
Moving through landscapes. Unfamiliar, the unknown.
I hadn't thought of it that way, but yes, travel makes you so aware.
Of your body, yes.
The exhaustion, disorientation, feeling out of your element.
Exhilarating, a bit unsettling too.
Both. Definitely both.
And that unease, that vulnerability, it's everywhere in flights.
It is.
Remember that inscription, the air sickness bag?
Striking out for Ireland.
Yes. Final destination, Belfast. Hope and anxiety mixed together.
Venturing into the unknown. It's like all these journeys, physical, metaphorical, never sure where they'll lead.
Precisely. And then there's Kunicki searching for his family.
His wife and child missing.
Such a powerful story, loss, memory, the nature of identity itself.
His journey, it's the perfect example, isn't it?
Of how travel disorients, but also leads to self-discovery.
He's looking for something concrete, his family.
But it forces him to confront these huge questions.
Existential questions, who he is, connection.
In a world that feels so fragmented.
And then there's that word he finds.
Kairos, yes.
This ancient Greek idea, the opportune moment.
It adds another layer to his exploration.
Life shaped by random encounters, unexpected turns.
That can redirect everything, our whole trajectory.
It's like those moments of chance, unexpected connections.
They permeate flights, don't they?
Yes, they do.
It's all connected to the structure she chose, the constellation of stories.
The fragmented pieces forming a whole.
It reflects that idea perfectly. Kairos, chance, connection.
So each story, even those seemingly unconnected.
Seemingly, yes.
They contribute to this larger conversation, the human condition.
In a world constantly in motion.
In motion, exactly. And it's up to us, the readers.
To connect the dots, the hidden threads.
And Tokarczuk warns us about describing too much.
Oh, yes, that passage in guidebooks.
Trying to pin things down neatly, language can diminish.
Our experience of the world, yes.
It's like she's saying there's magic in the unknown.
The spaces between words, the unexplained.
The unexplained, exactly.
It connects to her writing style so beautifully.
How so?
Leaving gaps, inviting us to fill them in.
With our own imaginations, our own experiences.
Instead of a neat package, she gives us pieces.
Trusting us to assemble them in our own way.
And that act of piecing it together, it mirrors the process.
Of travel, exploration, making sense of a shifting world.
A shifting, changing world.
It reminds me of that lecture, Travel Psychology, right?
Yeah.
Constellationality. Truth not in linear narratives.
But in constellations, interconnected moments.
Moments, experiences, flights embodies this perfectly, doesn't it?
It really does. The novel itself, a constellation.
Each story illuminating the others. We become active participants.
Creating meaning, drawing connections.
Between seemingly disparate elements.
Seemingly, yes. So it's not just understanding the stories.
It's seeing how they fit together, the larger tapestry.
Of travel, identity, the human condition.
That's what makes it a true deep dive, isn't it?
It really is. It's not just analysis, it's using the text.
To explore our own lives, our experiences, our understanding.
Of the world around us.
It feels like she's challenging us to embrace this fragmented nature.
Of experience, yes.
To find beauty in the unexpected and to recognize.
The connections that bind us all.
That bind us all, yes.
That's beautifully put, and perhaps most importantly.
What's that?
She reminds us the journey, just as important as the destination.
The journey.
By being open, embracing the unknown, we discover.
New layers of ourselves, the world.
The world, yes. And that brings us to something else fascinating in Flights.
What's that?
How Tokarczuk uses objects,
Objects, okay.
as anchors for memory, for meaning.
Yeah, like they hold stories, connect us to the past.
Exactly, like
Yeah.
that preserved leg Philip Verheyen.
Right, in the history of Philip Verheyen, it's not just a specimen.
It's a relic of his own history, his own mortality.
Reminder of death.
It ties into that preservation theme running through the book.
We see it everywhere, don't we?
Philip, Dr. Blau, even Mrs. Millay, her husband's body.
It makes you wonder what's driving them.
Defying death, maybe? Holding on to the past?
Could be both. Trying to capture something fleeting.
That's slipping away, and their collections they become.
Representations, tangible of that desire.
Specimens, bodies, even taxidermied animals.
But she shows the dark side too, right?
Oh, absolutely. This need for control, for order.
It can become an obsession.
It can. Trying to force order on a chaotic world.
A world that just won't be ordered. Makes you think about how.
How we try to hold on, create narratives, meaning.
What happens when they fall apart? When the object...
Lose their significance, yeah. That's where travel comes in.
Crowd?
It disrupts our narratives by its very nature.
The unknown, letting go, embracing the unexpected.
Exact.
So breaking free from those rigid structures.
In a way, yes. Surrendering to experience, to new perspectives.
Accepting that we can't control everything. Like Kuniki, his journey.
When his family disappears, his whole life shattered.
Trying to regain control, restore order.
But as he travels, encounters new things, his view shifts.
He starts to see the world himself differently.
Like shedding an old identity, husband, father.
Forced to confront that emptiness, find a new way of being.
And that's where Kairos comes back, you see.
Not just chance, but those moments that change us.
Redirect us unexpectedly. Open to transformation. Have you ever?
Experienced a Kairos moment.
Me? Oh, many times.
Yeah.
It's what makes life interesting.
Tokarczuk makes us think about how those moments are there.
Woven into our lives, even if we don't realize it.
And that's what makes Flights so compelling, I think.
It is. Not just stories, but an invitation to reflect.
On our own journeys, how those themes resonate.
Travel, identity, the objects we hold dear.
Like she's giving us a new lens to see the world.
The connections between things that seemed unrelated.
And that's the deep dive, isn't it? Not just the book itself.
It's using it as a springboard to explore our own lives.
Our journeys, our understanding of it all.
Of the world, exactly.
It's like she wants us to pay attention, really notice things.
The world around us, yeah.
The objects, the stories we miss.
That go unnoticed. It brings us back to that warning.
What about over-describing?
Yes. Language, how it can limit us.
That passage in guidebooks.
Pinning things down with words.
It makes it less real, somehow.
Less mysterious, like there's magic in the unknown.
The spaces between words, what can't be explained.
Exactly. And it fits with her style, doesn't it?
Her writing, yeah, how so?
The gaps, the fragments, letting us fill them in.
So instead of a complete story, she gives us
Pieces, and we assemble them.
in our own way. Like travel itself, isn't it?
Exploration, making sense of a world.
It's always changing. Like that travel psychology lecture.
Constellationality, yes.
Truth not in straight lines, but...
Constellations, those interconnected moments.
And Flights does that so well.
It really does. The novel itself, a constellation.
We have to become active, right?
Yes. We create the meaning, the connections.
Between things that seem separate,
On the surface, yeah.
it's not just the individual stories then.
It's the whole picture, how they fit together.
The big ideas, travel, identity, what it means to be human.
Exactly. That's what makes this a real deep dive.
It goes beyond the book, doesn't it?
We use it to think about our own lives.
Our experiences, how we see the world.
It's like she's asking us to embrace the fragments
To find beauty in the unexpected.
and see the connections, what binds us all.
What binds us all. It's a powerful message.
It is. And maybe the most important thing,
Oh, is that
it's the journey itself, not just the end point.
the journey, yeah.
Being open to new things, embracing what we don't know,
That's how we discover.
new parts of ourselves and the world around us.
So as we finish our deep dive into flights, we leave you with a question.
A question, okay.
How do these things resonate with you?
Objects, bodies, travel, all those themes.
What connections have you made? What journeys are you on?